Right now, there are numerous bills going through the Texas legislature, one of which even sparking a rally at the Capitol yesterday.
These proposed laws range from voting to permitless gun carry, but there's a lot to break down because of what this could mean for people across the state.
All right, so Governor Greg Abbott applauding these bills, tweeting, quote, "In 48 hours, the Texas House voted to defund cities that defund police, ban abortion at detection of heartbeat, slash STAR test requirements, ban homeless camping statewide, penalize protesters blocking the roads, ensure election integrity, easy to vote, hard to cheat," end quote. Now, every one of these proposals needs to go through the proper legislative process.
So joining us in today's Leading Essay segment to explain some of these bills and their impacts is State Senator Roland Gutierrez. Good morning, Senator. Thank you so much for joining us on this Mother's Day Sunday.
Good morning, Sarah. Thank you for having me.
Well, first up, we have the possible voting changes, SB 7 and HB 6, the bills that kind of sparked the rally at the Capitol yesterday. So can you explain what these entail and how it would impact Texans around the state?
Yeah, about the only thing that the governor got right in that tweet was, slashing STAR test requirements, by the way. But with regard to voting, I mean, we're in a real particular situation. All of those bills are targeted primarily at Houston and other cities that made voting more available. We have a situation in Houston where they established these drive-through massive voting sites. Here in San Antonio, we developed the AT&T Center. One of the big changes in this bill says that you can't have super voting sites. And so you can have them, but they have to equal the amount of ballot boxes in every other voting facility. And so therefore, if you had 100 at AT&T Center, you'd have to have 100 at Harlandale Civic Center. And so none of that makes sense for communities and for local control, where county commissioners can make the right decisions, elections officials can make the right decisions as to where the masses of people are going to vote. That's just one of the examples that make it more difficult to vote. I don't think that anything about this is about clarity and the purity of the ballot box.
Well, Senator, another controversial bill that could see the governor's desk is the fetal heartbeat bill, which could ban abortions at 6 weeks. So what does that mean for women across the state? And could that open up potential medical lawsuits?
Well, I think for the most part, it's going to effectively ban abortions. I don't think that there's going to be a doctor that is going to want to look. None of us like, abortions or anything like that. But it's a reality of the day. And so at the end of the day, doctors are not going to be able to perform these procedures. They're going to have even a hard time performing procedures in case of emergency. And so you're going to have a lot of women making the decisions to, go to another state where abortions are allowed a little bit later on in the cycle. What this bill says is the minute you hear a heartbeat, which is about 6 weeks, and you're not going to be able to have that procedure. Certainly slated to the United States Supreme Court. We'll see what happens with the addition of Amy Coney Bryant on the Supreme Court, and I think that we're in for some trying times if you're a woman in Texas these days, for sure.
Well, next up, House Bill 1927, the constitutional carry, the permitless weapon bill. Now, what would that mean for people who own guns around the state of Texas?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a gun owner, I suppose you like this bill. Most of the gun owners actually don't like this bill, which is I find interesting. Right now you need a license to drive. You need a license to carry a handgun and have it concealed on your body. Now with this bill, anybody can walk around with a handgun holstered to their side for the whole world to see. So the next time you're at HEB, there could be 50 people in there with sidearms. That's what this bill's about. And it's about the fact that everybody's going to be able to do this if they want without even so much as an application or a license or anything. Their big protection is that we're going to keep this out of the hands of criminals by adding a 5-year mandatory prison sentence if you're a felon with a gun. The problem is, and this is what I've been telling my Republican colleagues, you're never going to know who the criminals are because you're not even allowed to ask if someone has any kind of criminal history. And so, this one is something that the governor is very excited about. I have very, very deep reservations about it. And I hope that that it doesn't turn into lawless carry going down the road.
And Senator, on to House Bill 441, which reduced possession of 1 ounce or less of marijuana to a Class C misdemeanor, which carries no jail time, going through the state lawmaking process again. Do you believe this is a bipartisan effort to reduce these penalties? And what is the likelihood of it passing?
Yeah, I think that there is certainly, a partisan approach to that, bipartisan approach to that. I am concerned that whether it's going to get through the Senate. The lieutenant governor has always been very, very hesitant on cannabis legislation. This is the right thing to do. There's actually another component of that bill, or another one that says that we'll take the compounds like gummies, for instance, and make them the equivalent to a marijuana cigarette, so that those issues don't have criminality to them as well. Right now, if you're carrying a gummy on you, it is actually a felony. And so we have a lot of changes to do here. We're not going to be able to get to a true medical bill, which is what the teacup compassionate use bill is proposing. I think you're going to see marijuana increase from 0.5% to 5% THC, which is by no means medical marijuana in any state. And so we've got real challenges here. At the end of the day, we can increase revenue here. We can create jobs in farming, distribution, agriculture. We're a long way to go in cannabis in Texas.
All right. Well, Senator Gutierrez, thank you so much for joining us. And if anyone missed any part of this interview, you can watch it in its entirety. Just head to ksat.com.
Thank you, Senator. Yeah, definitely a lot to unpack here. And just full transparency, we did reach out to several of the state Republican lawmakers to talk about these issues today. None were able to be on the show today, but hopefully next week they'll be able to be here and give their insight in some of these bills. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you so much.